Hello and welcome to gagrule.net. Welcome back, episode 4. First I got so much email and people always say, well, you didn't talk about this or that. Turkish atrocity, it's so vast, it's so long, it is not a one group of people, one nation. Is 3 continents their atrocity, and it's just you cannot put it in one video. You need army of investigators, you need army of journalists, you need people to talk about, you need tons and tons of videos. That's why we're starting with those episodes to go on explaining all this and finding out and because Turkey is constantly causing these things. So you just don't know where to start. You want to talk about it, what they did 500 years ago, or you want to talk what they did in Mosul, what they are doing now in Syria. So they constantly keep the world busy. And the superpowers, they did, as we mentioned, they did to Islamic Empire, they did to the Byzantine Empire, they did to Germans, they did in NATO. So they are constantly creating this massive problems around the world, and so you just can't do it with one video. And so I hope you'll be patient with us, and as we go. Today we're going to talk about the last 20 years when Soviet Union collapsed with Turkey, and then we'll talk a little bit about Kosovo and Syria and the Turkish jihadists. And also we're calling this episode "Shame on You, Barzani," which is we're going to come back and talk about Barzani's guilt of what is going on. But later. So if you understand Soviet Union collapse, of course, just a little bit here, the collapse of Ottoman Empire was really, you have to give credit to Serbia. And as you know, like the Turks in 1800, they started massive ethnic cleansing. And so they were doing it in the Kurds and Arabs and Persians and Greek, Armenian, Serbian, like the Baltics, North Africa, Caucasus, Middle East. So the people were fed up, but they couldn't do much. They revolt here a little bit, revolt there, and they got slaughtered and massacred. Finally, the Serb succeeded and with their revolt against the Ottoman Empire, and that's how Ottoman Empire started to fail and pull apart. And so what happened is, of course, the Turks are very revengeful people, and so they waited and waited and waited until the Soviet Union collapsed. The first thing they did, they went after the Serbians, right? And so that's why they brought those from Kosovo. They brought in those called KLA, Kosovo Liberation Army, which was designated a terrorist organization. They brought them in Turkey, they trained them, they sent them back there to Kosovo and Bosnia. They created these massive atrocities. And of course, Turkey and NATO, whatever Turkey says, NATO of course does it. And so NATO goes there and destroy Serbia, and they take the Serbian leaders, they put them on trial, and so on and so forth. Okay, so then NATO created this Turkish Republic of Kosovo and Turkish Republic of Bosnia, and we talked about this before, but I have to repeat this so that you understand where I'm going. And so that was the Turkish, because Turkey needed Kosovo. Because Turkey needed for foothold in Europe. For the drug smuggling, the heroin, and also the terrorism. Because all this jihadist, Turkish jihadist terrorism is being trained in there. So including now when the first, the Syrian, so-called Syrian Free Army, and that's where Turkey sent them train, and most of them, they were Turkoman. So this is one thing I want to explain that most people don't know. is that during Ottoman Empire, all this ethnic cleansing was going on. They were ethnic cleansing Arabs and Kurds and all those people all over the empire. So what happened when those people revolted, the Balkans, the Middle East, and Caucasus, and North Africa, so Turkey left behind lots of those converted Turks, converted people to Turks, so they call them Turkoman. And so those are, like in America, they call them sleeper cell. And so there is lots of Turkish sleeper cells in around those regions, in Syria and Iraq, in Bosnia, Kosovo, all over the place. So Turkey used those sleeping cells whenever they want. For example, in Iraq, there is a city called Kirkuk. There, half of it, there are Turkomans. And those was Kurds and Arab Turkey ethnically cleansed them. And you have Tozgulmato, you have Tel Afar. So they have in Syria. So what Turkey did is those were the Turkomans. Turkey took them from Syria because they speak fluent Arabic. You will never know these are like Turks. And they send them into Kosovo and train them, and they became the conduit for those from Turkic nations like Azerbaijan and Chechnya and Turkmenistan, and all those areas come, and so they come to Turkey. Turkey sent it to the Turkomans in Syria, but as far as the world, they think, oh, Syrian Free Army, but they don't know most of Syrian army, they were the Turkomans. And as you could see here, if you look at this, remember Kesap, the Armenian town in the border with Syria and Turkey, when Turkey unleashed the Turkish jihadists, they went and invaded. And so that was a trial balloon, that was like a practice for Turkey to send the jihadists what they did in Mosul. And Mosul was the grand prize, but that one was a trial. And look at this, then this picture, and we're gonna come back. When this guy, he's supposedly, this is their propaganda, the Turkish jihadists, that they were helping this Armenian old man, Turkish militia. Watch this.
ماذا الساعة؟
الساعة هاي شكلهم حطينا بعاكس بخليه.
بجيب لك إياها؟
جيبه.
تكرم عينك. ها. وصورة ابنك؟
والله ما بعرف، والله ما بعرف.
يلا ها، هاي صورة. الشنطة كمان هي الشنطة. يلا. توكل على الله. عمي هنيك في اكل كثير، وين عم تاخذ هذول اعطيهم
عندهم
ها؟
عندهم
هذول في اكل كثير. ها؟
So you could see how nice he is to him, and he's trying to help him pack, and and so now watch this, and so you could see.
اما هلا هيك تعودت انت على المسدس ماسكه للمسدس ama هالمهلك bir idealler var insanların, bir kendi özgüven. Sonuna kadar da bu yolda mücadele edeceğiz Allah'ın izniyle. Bu kutsal mücadele sonuçta, cihat. Gıdamız acı, buna ihtiyacımız var.
Türkmen diye kabul etmediler bizi. Arap ol, ondan kere sana her şey yaparım.
Sen okuyacaksın, Türkmensin, Müslümansın. Okudun. Son okuyuşun bitti, mesela iş çıkarsın, çalışmak. Onu vermezlerdi sana.
Yasak da içki. Ama namaz yasak. Birileri de seni oruç tutuyor, tam sıkıştırırlar seni. İşte orucunu kestirene kadar seni.
Sen dedi, beni tanıyor musun? Hayır efendim dedim. Ben dedi Türkmenlerin Azrail'iyim.
So you could see here, let me show you, this is how those jihadists, they brought them
Islamist
from,
rebels from Russia's volatile Caucasus region fighting in Syria against Bashar al-Assad have announced that they have split from an al-Qaeda-linked group to form their own independent battalion. Militants from the Caucasus, where Russian troops have been trying to quell an Islamist insurgency for years, have emerged as some of the most effective fighters in the battle against the Syrian regime. A group calling itself the Mujahideen of the Caucasus in the Levant posted a video online announcing its split from the Al-Qaeda-linked Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant.
In the name of the Lord, prayers upon the Lord Prophet. Today we are in the land of Sham, God willing. We came here to do jihad. Before, our fighters were the Mujahideen.
So anyway, I don't want to bore you. I don't want to bore you with those videos, but you could see how Turkey created this conduit with bringing the Turks, and this is how they were able to infiltrate. And their name, those are Syrian Free Army. And so I just wanted so that the people will understand how Turkey managing this. And also, since we are talking about this Turkey, and as you could see, why Turkey needed Kosovo, because Kosovo and Azerbaijan, we're going to talk in a few minutes why they did the same thing, how they did in Kosovo, they did in between Azerbaijan and Armenia. In a few minutes, we'll show you that.
All you have to do is go and look at the State Department's own reports on Turkey and the opiums. 92% of the heroin supplied in Europe is coming through Turkey. It's being marketed, it's being distributed by Turkish individuals. UK, France. You look at it and this is not classified. This is within the State Department's own report. What are we doing about it? Because the poppies are being produced in Afghanistan. This is what I try to tell people. And Taliban-esque people are getting benefits, and the Al-Qaeda people are getting benefits of these poppies being sold to these individuals in Turkey, who then distribute and provide 92% of Europe's heroin market. Have we touched that? I mean, they are our allies after all, supposedly. Have we said clamp down on these narcotic activities because it's helping the terrorists and the terrorists are threats to our national security? No, we haven't, have we? We have not.
Especially in the case of Afghanistan, I mean, we have traced very clear where the money is going. It's either going to these clans and groups of people, and also it's going to the Taliban. And I mean, this is not a secret.
No, Time magazine ran a piece about 11 pages how the Afghanistan, opium production has increased. And then they also put the value of that opium production, and there were congressional statements there from various congressmen, including Walter Jones, who went to Afghanistan, saying a lot of it goes to support Al-Qaeda and Taliban. The number was about somewhere between $38 billion a year to $50 billion a year. Now, this Time magazine article limits the issue of these poppy production to some, to some farmers. You're looking at these. I'm not putting them down. You're looking at these Afghanis in shalwars, with their long beard, who are cultivating the poppies there. These people, they're not capable of managing $50 billion industry. They have a very, their own little share. The real production of labs for processing these into heroin, from taking it through the Balkan route by Turkish individuals, and these are the people, again, you're not looking at street-level thugs in Turkey. You're looking at Turkish military, you're looking at Turkish police, you're looking at Turkish MIT. A professor in Turkey in 2000 issued this documented report saying that a quarter of Turkey's economy relies on heroin production and distribution. Of course, he had to escape the country and go to Germany and have political asylum because he committed treason by criticizing the Turkish government. But the Time magazine article, my point is, it didn't talk about the main actors, the big people, the powerful ones, who are distributing, processing, marketing, laundering the proceeds, Those people were not touched. If you go and look at the reports, you're seeing the countries involved, Turkey, Cyprus, portion of Turkey, United Emirates, Dubai. None of those issues were conveniently touched by Time magazine article. So any American, any citizen who would read this article would say, oh, there are some bearded shalwar people who are making $50 billion a year and helping Al-Qaeda and Taliban. And this is so sad because, again, in this case, the culprit is Time magazine because, no, that's not the case. But who prevents the media, or is it happening, from publishing the real facts? The Turks, their involvement, United Emirates, and their position in laundering this money, Pakistan and narcotics. It's saying, oops, they are our allies. And we don't want to touch them. We don't want to turn them off. In fact, we have a lot of good business, diplomatic, sensitive diplomatic relations, as John Ashcroft put it there. Now, if one of them were in the part of the axis of evil, if one of them was Syria, or if one of them was Iran, or one of them was Korea, or before Iraq, if it was Saddam, oh, you would see the stink they would raise, how Saddam's country and people are helping Taliban with their finances and helping Al-Qaeda with these cases. But there was this big oops. It's our very close allies, the ones that we're giving billions of dollars of aid, the ones that the aid comes back and buys our weapons. We can't mess around with things like that. We have too many powerful people who are benefiting from this. We have too many powerful companies that are benefiting from this. There is this huge lobby industry that is benefiting from this. Who's representing the American people? Well, we know former chairman, Mr. Livingston, today is representing their interest. Therefore, our Congress is representing these foreign, and I'm not talking about the people in Turkey, their interest. I'm talking about certain interest people there. And we know that it's established. We know how much money they're getting. Livingston, how much is going through various ways into the pockets of our representatives. But who's really representing the American public? It's very hard to establish. And how? It's very hard to see the track record. And these are the issues that you wish that the mainstream media here in this country would cover. And they are not. But I'm glad you're covering it.
But this is why Turkey wanted this route, and whether it's terrorist or heroin distribution, from Afghanistan through Azerbaijan, Turkey, and goes into Kosovo and get distributed. So the best person to describe all that, just before just like when Syria, that was 2011 something, when the Syrian Turkey started this planning war against Syria, and here is this RT, you could hear it so that you understand what I'm saying.
Syrian rebels have reportedly begun undergoing guerrilla warfare training in Kosovo. They're alleged to be using the same training camps built for the anti-Serb Kosovo Liberation Army, a group previously designated as a terrorist organisation by the United States and even the UN. Let's talk about this with Sergio Trifkovic, Foreign Affairs Editor of the US-based Chronicles magazine. He's joining us on the line from Banja Luka. Mr. Trifkovic, hi there. Just what might the Syrian opposition learn at these camps these days, do you think?
Well, first of all, I don't think they can learn much from the KLA veterans in terms of combat efficiency, because the KLA was singularly unsuccessful in its rebellion against the Serbian security forces until the NATO bombing. They started their terrorist ambushes in '97, they intensified their activities in '98, but all along it was atrocity management that they wanted. For instance, such the famous case of Račak, where the combat victims were presented as innocent civilian dead slaughtered by the Serbs. But even during the bombing, the Serbian forces maintained full control over all of the key population centers, and they even kept the roads open. It's only that the KLA came in after the Serbs started withdrawing under the terms of the ceasefire with NATO, and even then they were not engaging in combat. They were acting as marauders, ethnically cleansing non-Albanians. So the first point is that there is nothing to learn in terms of combat efficiency and in terms of actually organizing a successful guerrilla force.
Words, though, that have been associated with the KLA, assassinations, terror, bombings, is that really the kind of thing that the Syrian opposition wants to be associated with, do you think?
Well, it seems that they don't fare, because they don't care, because I understand that Ammar Abdul Hamid, one of the Syrian opposition leaders who came to Pristina and actually spoke to an AP reporter, said, "We're here to learn." Now, this should be a huge wake-up call for those Syrians who are not supportive of the opposition, especially the minorities, the Alawites, the Christians, either Orthodox or Greek Catholic, the Shiites, the Kurds, and also the moderate Sunni Muslims. Should remember that if the Syrian rebels learn from the KLA, that means there will be a bloodbath after the fall of Assad, and that there will be no room for anyone but the majority group which subscribes to its extremist credo, is that of Greater Albania in Kosovo or of the Muslim Brotherhood offshoot in Syria.
And also looking back in the recent history books and trying to refer it to today and whether anything can be learned. I mean, looking back at Kosovo, a lot of people say it showed that dealing with thousands of men trained, as we've been talking about, in guerrilla warfare to fight authorities, then turns into a peacetime nightmare. I mean, one that turned Kosovo into a regional crime centre. Could the same thing happen in Syria?
Well, first of all, Kosovo is well positioned to be the crime center for the whole of Europe. It is the main distribution point for heroin. It is the main point from which various networks of people smugglers, prostitution rings, and so on reach out to Italy, to Germany, to Great Britain, and even across the Atlantic Ocean. Syria probably will not become that, but Syria will become a hotbed of Islamist extremism, because let's face it, after all the talk about great and beautiful things that a new democratic Syria will turn into, it will actually turn into another copy of post-Mubarak Egypt, where when the dust settled, all of the yuppies from Tahrir Square have disappeared, and the Muslim Brotherhood emerged as by far the most popular and the most powerful group. But I would also add that what is happening in Pristina with the Syrian rebels and the KLA getting together under the auspices of the United States should be a wake-up call for third countries such as Russia, because it is obvious that the United States remains hell-bent on toppling Assad, even though it hasn't received even a fig leaf authorization from the UN Security Council. Now we see that the Security Council, with Russia and China as the opponents of the intervention, are being bypassed by the American intelligence services, which are obviously behind the arrangements that are being prepared in Kosovo.
Sergei Trishkovich, Foreign Affairs Editor of the US-based Chronicles magazine, thanks ever so much for taking the time to be on RT today.
So there you go. So you heard that how the Turks successfully did the Bosnian things, and so they're doing it now in Syria. So since we are on the subject of Syria, the reason, as you could see now, this negotiating, bargaining Turkey is doing with US, they want no-fly zone and buffer zone. Here is the things. Because right now, Turkey's border, it's a one-way street. You could go in, but you can't go out. The reason Turkey is doing that, just exactly how Turkey brought their so-called hostages, which is, they did their job perfectly on Mosul invasion, so they brought them back home, you know. So now the reason the border is open and Turkey is waiting to collect all those Turkish terror jihadists, bring them back safely into Turkey, and then send them back home, say, hey, thank you very much. You made our atrocity management successful. Now Turkish army gonna do the rest, and of course NATO and all those people. So that's what Turkey is waiting. So you never know when Turkey is gonna start to invade Syria again. But so my bet is they're gonna wait until make sure all those Turkish jihadists have flee. So Turkey goes there, kill some Arab people, says, you see, we just killed the IIS and Islamic State, whatever you want to call it. They know exactly what they are doing. Well planned, well designed. Now, let's talk about the next step, you know, the Azerbaijan, okay? So here this map, you could look at this map and see that you could see that gray area between Azerbaijan and Turkey. That is Armenia, which is, as you could see how they carved out between these two Islamic countries, they carved out this little Christian Armenia, and it's just like skeleton left there. Even that little skeleton, they cannot stand it. They have to destroy it. You see, this is why when Soviet Union collapsed, Georgia, Azerbaijan, Armenia declared independent. Turkey did not like that. So Turkey said, we gotta do something. Armenia now, Eastern Armenia is free. They're gonna demand Western Armenia. So let's do something. So again, they send their jihadists to Azerbaijan. Remember, in Azerbaijan, we're not just talking about those enclave Karabakh with Armenian. There was deep inside Azerbaijan 300,000-400,000 Armenian. They were living with Azeris, Armenia for hundreds of years. No problem. So Turkey sent those jihadists. They create this atrocity. They burn Armenian homes. They throw Armenian out from their apartment. So Armenian, they start fleeing. The first refugees started from Azerbaijan. That's why the Armenian in this enclave called Karabakh, which when Soviet Union, the Bolshevik took over Caucasus, that's another thing. We're going to talk about it, how the Turks sold Caucasus to the Bolshevik Russia. And they carved out this, both this Nakhichevan and Karabakh, they give it to Azerbaijan to keep Azerbaijani Muslims happy. But anyway, so that's why the Karabakh said, if you Azerbaijan is such a murderer, we declaring independent, we don't want to be part of it. But neither Azerbaijani, neither Armenian know who put this fire, okay? And so Azerbaijan obviously takes their mighty military and to crash those Armenian revolting. And of course, Armenian, the young Armenian, with their shotgun took over Azerbaijani tanks, and they not only liberated Karabakh, but they also secured the perimeter all around the Karabakh, which is the Azerbaijanis, they call them occupied territory. And so that is a different subject. We're going to talk about it more in detail. But then Azerbaijan goes to Russia, begged Russia to come stop the war. And that's where Armenia made a big mistake. Armenia should have gone all the way to Baku, and today Azerbaijan would be a free country. But that's for some other time. So now they successfully spill the blood between Armenia and Azerbaijan. Of course, you know, when you spill the blood, you can't stop it. So that's what, and also in the same time, Turkey closed the border with Armenia. So that was a good reason for them to do that. So now they need Georgia. Now, why they need Georgia? We're going to tell you later on. So what happened is this Erdogan and this Georgian president, Shakespeare, they become a buddy. So they corrupted the Shakespeare, and they sort of encouraged Shakespeare to go because, you know, there is a dispute between Georgia and Russia, those some enclaves. So this Shakespeare takes the tanks, goes to fight the superpower. And so obviously the Russians crushed them. And as you could see there, Georgia has a long border with Russia, you know, and Russian and Georgians for hundreds of years, they had family relationship, trade. In fact, Stalin was from Georgia, you know, but Turkey successfully cut off Georgia from Russia. And so now Azerbaijan and Georgia depending fully on Turkey. So what Turkey does, of course, Turkey at this time, Turkey and Israelis, they were buddies. So the Jewish lobby and the Turks, there is this organization in Washington called American Turkish Council. It's the most corrupt institution in the face of the earth. So they lobby the US Congress to get $7 billion of US taxpayer money. They give it to British Petroleum. So the British Petroleum build this pipeline from Azerbaijan via Georgia throughout Turkey. So now, as you could see, Turkey successfully turned Azerbaijan the cash cow for Turkey. Turkey is making billions of dollars in the Baghdad, and they successfully blackmailed. As you could see now, Turkey, everything to do with Armenia, says, well, the border will not be open until Azerbaijani, the Karabakh solution, because that was, Turkey did exactly how they did to Kosovo, how they destroyed it, Serbia. Okay, so now what they did is now they need Iraqi oil. And so they become a buddy-buddy with this Barzani. So Shakespeare is gone. They got what they want in Azerbaijan. They got the Kosovo, now Iraq. So what they did is they successfully turned Iraqi central government against the Kurds and against the Sunnis. So they preoccupied Iraqi government. The Kurds were fighting while the Turks, Erdogan and this Davutoglu, the master of the atrocity, and they corrupted Barzani to build near this secret pipeline and secret selling oil. So they did everything to turn the Kurds against the Arabs in Iraq, which Iraq give the Kurds, they have almost their de facto independent in there, while the Kurds in Turkey, they were not even able to say we are Kurd. They literally now own Iraqi Kurdistan, because everything in economically, they own the banks, they own the construction companies, the transport companies, you name it, they own in Kurdistan. So that's how they did with the Kurds, diverted the oil, the pipelines again to the same place where the Azerbaijani oil is coming. So now they got Azerbaijan and they got Iraq successfully, and they put them all together. So now, obviously, they're both Azerbaijan and Kurdistan become Turkish cash cow. And Turkey is making hundreds of billion. Man, think about it. Iraqi Kurdistan alone, it pumped about $10 billion into this Erdogan coffins. You know, Erdogan and Davutoglu coffins. So that means like last 10, 15 years, hundreds of billions of dollars. And what Turkey does with those billions? Buy bullets, buy tanks, buy airplanes. And for last 100 years, where the Turkey use all those bullets and planes and tanks and helicopter, they slaughter, massacre the Kurdish men, women, children. You see? In fact, except for they went occupied, slaughtered, massacred the Cyprus, half of Cyprus, all this gone, all the material Turkey used on the Kurdish men, women, children killing. Okay? But Barzani, it's pumping billions of dollars in it. That's why I say, shame on you, Barzani, because Barzani, Turkey, it's using you. Just like how they used this Aliyev in Azerbaijan, how they used Bashar al-Assad. Remember this? Bashar al-Assad, he was his buddy. He was his friend. Look what he did to Syria. Turkey, any minute, could turn the table on you. The Turkish ruling elites. I want you to listen, Mr. Barzani. Turkish ruling elite, last 500 years, they do not have the concept coexisting with other people. If they had, they would not do ethnic cleansing. They would not say that the Kurds, you're not allowed to say you're Kurd, you are mountainous Turks. This is the problem, Mr. Barzani, and you, it's gonna happen to you. What is going, as you could see now, how is he sent those his Turkish jihadists. They were like 10 kilometers from your border. You should be thankful that Americans come and save your butts. You can't even call every day Americans to come and help you. What you need to do, you need to be a good friend of Iraq, Baghdad. You want to build good, strong Iraq, have a good, strong military. When Turkey next time sends its jihadists, you are ready for it. You know, if you need independent Kurdistan, it has to be in Turkey, not in Iraq, because in Iraq you have every right. You are almost free. What is it that you need that you don't have now? You know, but that's where Kurdistan has to be. So this is why I wanted to say about Iraq, and I say again, shame on you. And I think the reason I say shame on you, because here, the the Kurds are demonstrating worldwide and calling Turkey shame on you. Turkey care about shame on you. Turkey knows themselves they're criminals. You telling Turkey shame on you? So here is this in Australia. Watch this.
Down, down, ISIS! Down, down, ISIS! Down, down, ISIS! Shame, shame, Turkey! Shame, shame, Turkey! Down, down, ISIS! Down, down, ISIS! Shame, shame, Turkey! Shame, shame, Turkey!
So you could see the Kurdish people, worldwide demonstration, they know how evil Turkishness is. But the only person that doesn't know among those millions of Kurds is this one man, Barzani. He just putting his head in the sand and becoming buddy with this Erdogan and Davutoglu. I mean, Mr. Barzani, Davutoglu is the architect of Neo-Ottoman Empire. All you have to do just read what he says, what he does. You know, Mr. Barzani, have a look at this map. We showed this map before. Look and see where is Iraqi Kurdistan. Look, where is Syria, the Kurds in Syria. This is what they teach in their schools. Mr. Barzani, do not be a naive. So what is I say, you know, to the people of the region, especially the Kurds, you need not only demonstrate around the world, which is you're doing great job, but please demonstrate in front of Barzani. Send them the message to start gradually cut off the economic purchasing from putting all this multi-billion dollar in Turkish economy. Ankara is the problem. This is why Barzani has to divert the oil from going to Turkey, depend on Turkey. I mean, think about this. Barzani wants to become independent. So what's going to happen when you become independent? Now you're going to be enemy of the Arabs. So you think that, and then you're going to, what happened? You're going to be landlocked in the jaws of the Turks. You didn't learn your lesson for the last 100 years, what Turkey did to the Kurds? And now you want to go in bed with the Turks? I mean, how bizarre is that? Mr. Barzani, it's time to wake up. It's time not to look your own personal interest. Start looking the people of the Kurdish people interest. You are the main problem because you being in bed with this Turkish evil empire. Start diverting the oil to some other source. Start your purchasing from other countries. Start closing Turkish military base in Iraq. That why you allow even that bazaar, another bazaar. Why would you allow Turkish military base in the Hague? So those are things that lots of things you could do instead of just asking for independence. But you're already free in Iraq. You have everything. Help the Kurds in Turkey. That's where the independent Kurdistan has to happen. That's where there is 20 million people. It is the Turk, the reason you Kurds don't have country. That is the reason, not the Arabs, not anybody else. Is the Turks that you don't have country. Why do you play naive? So let's hope, Mr. Barzani, you wake up a little bit and not keep calling the whole world to come and help you. Instead of build strong Iraq, strong military, and defend yourself from this Turkish jihadists. Because Turkish jihadists, they will come again and again and again. They did it in Kosovo. They did in Azerbaijan against Armenia. They did it in Libya. They're doing it everywhere. This Turkish jihadists will be there forever. But you have to prepare yourself. You have to prepare your people to defend yourself, not become. Your enemy is within. Why you let Turkey take over your economy? Why can't you buy your stuff from anywhere else in the world? So, and let's help the Kurdish people liberate themselves from this evil Turks. And thank you for watching for today this, and we're gonna come some more of this videos. As I said, those videos is not easy. It takes time because of day-to-day problem we have to concentrate on, and also we need to talk Turkish atrocity, what they did hundreds of years ago. So more to come. So keep in touch and send us all your emails, the comments. We appreciate that. And please help us distribute these videos to social network, to your friends, to all over the places. And we do appreciate if you do that. Thank you and have a nice day.